Carl Jung says, and I think he's right, that 95% of people live 95% of their life unconscious. They're just on a conveyor belt. They can be bought off very easily. We see this, how the media can almost create any mentality at once in America, usually within a week. And we think we're intelligent people, huh? But you can tell there's no ground or center in here. And whatever the dominant consciousness tells us to believe, we by and large believe. Bread and circuses was the name in the Roman period, that the Roman people could be kept unconscious by just keep giving them enough bread and entertaining them in the Colosseum.
Bread and circus of media. Television is a drug. Television is the new church, and it sucked our brains into the TV tube. And what it's done is created a matrix where people are totally stupefied and distracted from the world around them and a belief that they could change it.
There's nothing wrong with this moment. It's complete. If you could live in this moment, then you would be okay. But you're either living in the past or in the future. And we can say about both of them, they're not here.
According to Jewish tradition, living in the present moment is the only moment we have. Because, as I may have mentioned, Judaism does not have a concrete concept of an afterlife. We don't know for sure that there is an afterlife.
Well, I like to believe that depending on how you were in your life, during your life, you go to heaven or hell, unfortunately. But I like to think that everyone's going to go to heaven because God loves us all.
I'm not sure that heaven exists, and I don't think I really care. I believe I'd like to live in this world, in this life, assuming that it is the only life and the only world that I will ever have access to.
It's heaven all the way to heaven. It's whenever you can accept anything, which is to accept everything in the right now. That's a little moment of heaven.
The one. This is all the manifestation of the one.
It manifests in cosmos, nature, in all the qualities of nature, in the poeticness of the natural world.
The one is creative. Look at it, it's creative. Look at how it's creative.
In butterflies and in seagulls and rivers and mountains and fragrances of flowers and plants and human beings, and in the innocence of children, in laughter, in selfless actions, in the stars, in our dreams, our psychological processes. Everything is a manifestation of the divine. The divine is there. If we have the awareness, we can perceive it.
During the course of this project, we asked a lot of people a lot of questions. But it seemed like the one question that caused people the most pause, that gave people the most trouble, was the ultimate question.
The meaning of life is, to say in few words,
the meaning of life. God, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
We're here because that big question.
What is the meaning of life?
The question is actually absurd.
God.
For me,
I couldn't tell you. I have never really thought about that.
I don't know enough to answer that question. I don't. I can't answer that. That's too tough.
I couldn't really tell you the meaning of it. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know why we're here.
Cheers.
Something is trying to happen here. Something is being born. like a phoenix rising out of the ash. Something is being born.
I think the meaning of life is you do whatever you want, no matter what people say.
Just to live your life to the fullest. Just live the life, do what you want to do.
And if a person tells you that you suck and that you can't do it, I believe to prove them wrong, and that will be the meaning of your life.
Is not to look back, you know, to enjoy that moment, you know, the best way to describe the meaning of life is
to be good people and enjoy yourself and take care of others and just be good, you know. To me, that's the meaning of good life.
What is the meaning of life? It is what is the meaning of life to you. Because for me it is different to you. Because each of us is unique, each of us is different, each of us has a unique note to play. Carl Jung, he said, find the meaning and make the meaning your goal. Just like Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss.
The meaning of life is to experience the divine potential within you, say yes to it totally, and actualize it on the behalf of all life.
The meaning has to be made here in my relations with other people, collectively. What we make of this earth and of all the people who live together, that's what makes the meaning of life.
And there is no point in you trying to follow my meaning or me trying to follow your meaning, because we are each unique. We are a unique creation. A butterfly doesn't try to become a tree.
God is found in the interconnections between people. And the discovery of every person that I meet is a discovery and meeting of God.
Describe God, you can't. It is a ludicrous question.
Good meaning of God, when people mean, when they say God is love, like in the Christian scriptures, or when the Muslims say Allah Rahman, God the merciful, if they mean by that sort of the power of love is the power of the universe, that isn't necessarily a person, doesn't have a plan, and also love doesn't necessarily control the beloved. It just wishes for the happiness of the beloved. So it's sort of a happiness energy that wishes for beings to be happy. If God is defined that way, then there's no question any religious person of any kind, whether they're theistic, or monotheistic or not, they would agree with that definition. The personal definition, like the angry God, the God of this tribe, that sort of thing, those things are a little bit problematic from an enlightened point of view.
The great mystics of all the great world religions, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, none of them are afraid of God.
God is not a person. He's not some sort of character who sits in a chair or something.
God is certainly not a dead white male in the sky.
It's not like some big old white dude sitting up there on a diamond gem-throated throne, you know, with a long beard, you know, looking, you know, all elegant and snooty and looking down on people.
The Muslims say that God is closer than your jugular.
He is closer to us than this vein here.
And God is certainly closer to me than my jugular vein.
He is closer to us than our hearts.
And God is to be found in the heart of every living entity, as well as in all the atoms.
Smaller than the smallest. One could say smaller than an atom or an electron, and greater than the greatest, greater than the whole universe, is the divine reality.
That God is in everything, everything is God, everything is a part of God.
Tell them that God is not out there.
God is beyond even our idea of the beyond.
The real goal is something much more amazing, you know. It's much more fantastic.
And so, about 3 years ago, we set out on this odyssey with nothing but a DV camera, 20 questions, and a mantra. We are all one. But what began as kind of a lark amongst friends to try to make an independent film, somewhere along the way turned into a life's journey. And what started out back then as a kind of kumbaya notion of oneness also grew into something much greater. Somewhere along the way, oneness became more colorful, and oneness became more intense.
But just imagine for a moment that you looked around the room right now, wherever you're sitting,
and you saw that vase of flowers, that window, that microphone, that camera it's like looking at yourself, and how you would feel about those things and those people if you knew for a moment with great certainty that was true. And I think the answer is right there.
And oneness became more inclusive.
And so We Are One is an exploration of discovering that the oneness is paradoxically, in the multiplicity, plurality.
Despite the fact that we have a lot of differences in terms of ethnicities
and nationalities and different traditions, and
in terms of our geographical location.
The Israelis and the Palestinians,
Bosnia, Chechnya, Pakistan,
Iraq, and
we are American, we are Dutch, we are German.
Jews and the Palestinians, the Christians and Muslim, Arabs.
Buddhist, a Hindu, a Jew, a Muslim, an animist, an atheist.
East, West, North, South, up and down.
All people. There are hundreds of languages, probably hundreds of races that exist in our world today.
The fact remains that we are all one.
We are all one.
We are one.
نحن كلنا موحدون.
And oneness became more internal.
Ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? And if you go really deep into this, who am I? Very deep into this, you'll realize you're not your body, you're not the mind, you're not even your personality. You're the infinite being.
And oneness became richer and more beautiful than we could have ever imagined.
We are all unique, each one of us different. And it's so wonderful that we're different. We may spring from the same oneness of our interiority, but as human beings, as individuals, every one of us is unique. We are different, that's what is beautiful about us. So at least let's enjoy the difference. If you learn to enjoy the difference, if you see that every human being is a unique human being, only once, in the whole eternity, only once this kind of human being happens. You cannot find exactly this kind of human being anywhere else in the existence, at any time in eternity, only once. That is true with yourself, with your friend, with your enemy, with your loved ones and the ones you hate. All of them are absolutely unique. Anything that you see as unique, you value it. Anything that you value, you will have no problems with it. And oneness will happen out of that. If you begin to enjoy the uniqueness of life, oneness will happen out of that.
On the last day of the last interview, after the final question had been asked, we were sitting in a remote monastery with Father Thomas Keating. Now, he's probably the most revered figure in the Christian contemplative movement today. And we were talking with him about the journey of this movie. And on the final minute of almost 100 hours of tape, he summarizes the journey this way.
The beginning of the spiritual journey is the realization, not just the information, but a real interior conviction that there is a higher power, or God, or to make it as easy as possible for everybody, that there is an other, capital O. Second step, to try to become the other, still a capital O. And finally, the realization that there is no other. You and the other are one. Always have been, always will be. You just think that you aren't.